Hello, I'm Linda from Scallywag Astrology,
I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
and this is Astro Babble, where we babble about astrology.
We're going to start today with the new moon. It's taking place in Aquarius, and so far it is coinciding with the lunar or the Chinese Lunar New Year of the Tiger, and it's all about energy and all about new starts.
Because new moons traditionally are about new starts and new beginnings, and it's a great time for setting intentions. So, yeah. And you're a tiger, I believe, Donna?
I am a tiger and I am a water tiger, so this is my year, or it's supposed to be. The energy that I am anticipating with this tiger energy is a lot of energy, constant movement, and I'm ready for it.
Really
It is the
good.
year of it's actually more specifically the year of the water tiger, and the water tiger is one of the 5 elements that the tiger series through, and the elements that the Chinese astrology has is the air, fire, earth, wood, and metal. So that's 5 elements that the Chinese deal with. The Western astrology is a little different.
Yeah, we've only got the 4. We've only got earth, air, fire, and water. So a little bit different, but yeah. The Chinese astrology is always interesting to look at. And if you don't know what Chinese animal you are, we're going to put a link on the Astro Babble website. We'll put a link below and you can check out and see which Chinese animal you are. I'm a goat or a sheep. Sometimes I read sheep, sometimes I read goat. I never know which one I'm going to be, but I know it's the fire one, which, yeah, I'm an Aries, so that suits me. So
interesting.
And you're a Scorpio, so it suits you being a water tiger.
Yes, it does. Yes, I do have a lot of water in my chart. So this should be an interesting year for sure. That lunar energy that we're going to start experiencing starts when, Linda?
So it depends where you are in the world. So if you're on the Pacific coast, it will be at 9:45 p.m. on Monday, the 31st of January. If you're mountain time, it will be 10:45 p.m. on the 31st of January. If you're central, it will be 11:45 p.m. on the 31st of January. And if you're on the East Coast, it will be 12:45 a.m. on the 1st of February. And for people down in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia, it will be 3:45 p.m. on Tuesday, the 1st of Feb for Brisbane, 4:45 for Melbourne and Sydney, and 1:45 p.m. for Perth.
Excellent.
So this is the chart for the new moon. And we have the sun and moon together, which is what happens when we have a new moon. And this new moon is ruled by Saturn, and we have Saturn very close to it at only 3 degrees apart. So might put a little bit of a damper on getting off quick and starting those new intentions. It might be a little bit hampered or kind of come up against some obstacles as you're trying to achieve these things, perhaps.
Yes, I agree. With Saturn in that same house, that gives you the energy to make sure you've put in those supports. With that Saturn, you're building. And with a new moon, it's a great time to start building almost anything. The Saturn helps you build. The Saturn tries to tell you, hey, did you get the permits? Did you put in the supports for that beam? The Saturn is the energy that tells you you need to check all of the requirements that go into building, you know, something that's going to be sustaining. Being in a fixed house is also great. I love fixed energy. I'm I'm all about fixed energy, and I happen to resonate very strongly with Saturn in Aquarius.
Mhm.
So yeah, it should be
It'd be interesting. And you have an interest in the moon mansions too, which the moon mansions have, is it every 12 degrees? A different
just
mansion?
about. It's very, very close. The moon mansions were developed for every time the moon went through a certain part of the zodiac chart, would indicate the things that you should or shouldn't do. Such as if you were to buy new clothes, then it might, you'll find that pair of jeans you were looking for. If and this goes back 2,000 years, so they weren't talking about jeans back then, but they were talking
Nice
about
toga or something.
a lot of times what they wore was basically one or two, items of clothing they had. If they were going to ruin them, they would want to know about it. I'm sure that was very important, because that seems to be one of the things that is mentioned in the moon mansions when you read about them. But I wouldn't hold them. I wouldn't stop. Don't not wear your best dress. Just be careful when you're wearing your best dress. Don't order the red wine if you're wearing a white dress. You can, if you know about the moon mansions, you can mitigate those obstacles that you might be facing with those moon mansions that are coming.
And what is this particular moon mansion? So this is, the new moon's going to be at 12 degrees Aquarius, 19 minutes. What moon mansion is that?
That's the 26th mansion. And the best thing, like I mentioned earlier, is building. You've got all the energies ready for it. It's got Saturn in that house. You have the new moon, new projects, new strength, new everything.
Well, very suitable then, yeah. And like you said, that fixed energy, that's brilliant. Yeah, so good for building something that's going to last, something that will maintain over time.
Exactly.
Nice. Well, and we're going to run through the what you can expect from this new moon, depending on your zodiac sign. And yeah, you can do it whether you want to use your moon sign, your ascendant or rising sign, or your sun sign, which is another name for your star sign. So what do you prefer to use, Donna? Do you like to use I always like to use the ascendant.
I do as well.
That way you kind of get the house, and yeah.
You can do a lot.
But if you don't know your ascendant, you can use your sun sign or your moon sign. So yes, if you have an Aquarius, well, we're just going to talk about Aquarius in general. It's happening in your first house. So it's all about you and your appearance and your vitality and how others perceive you. So yeah, this is a great time for buying new clothes, and particularly, like we're talking about building and stability and fixedness. It'd be a good time for buying classics, things that you want to last, not your, something just to, throwaway fashion. This is kind of like for the good suit that you want to last for years, or, a nice handbag that's going to, go the distance perhaps. And yeah, good time to maybe improve or start to improve your fitness or health, maybe slim down a bit appearance wise, or new haircut, all those sorts of things.
Yes. Weight loss is a good time to start that with the way the phase of the moon. You also want to watch that as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the second house, that full moon's going to affect your money. So
that's for the Capricorn ascendants or the Capricorn people?
Yep, for the Capricorn ascendant or moon sign or sun sign. It's going to affect your money. So the things that you want to watch out for on this period of the time is making sure that you are balancing your checkbook, making sure that your bills are, ready to go, and you have gotten that under control, and you know where the money's coming from or how to spend it and where it's being spent to. Maybe there are things that you don't need to have. Saturn's all about no.
Yeah, denial. Actually, it'd be a good time to set out on a new budget, really, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would be a great time to start a new budget. It as well would be a good time to, do a planning for it, that uses about a budget, because that Saturn's right there to let you know, probably not, this is not what you want to be doing.
Yeah. Saturn, big daddy, no.
Yeah.
If you're Sagittarius, it will be happening in your 3rd house, which is associated with siblings, your local neighborhood and local area. Can also represent communications, short distance kind of travel. So yeah, it could be new events, and this might not necessarily be happening to you. It could be your siblings. It could be new things, new growth, new beginnings in your local area. Could be some sort of new learning, not necessarily higher education, kind of university, TAFE, that sort of learning, but maybe, what would you call it? Just short courses, that sort of thing. You might be embarking on some sort of short training. So that's
excellent.
the 3rd house.
Love that. Anything to learn something new, because that's why we started this podcast to begin with, is if we can get people talking about astrology and getting it more out there. That's exactly why Linda and I decided to start this. And so we'll go right into the 4th house. And if you are a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising or ascendant, that moon's going to fall in your 4th house. And I have a lot of energy in my 4th house, and it will help you with that Saturn. It will help you build. The 4th house is all about building your home. It's about your ancestors. It's about either where your homeland is or your ancestry comes from. So the 4th house is all about stabilizing your home. And that's what you want to do.
And it could involve parents too, with the 4th house sometimes representing parents. So unfortunately, it might not be you having exciting new beginnings. It might be your parents, which, that's good for them, but, maybe a little bit disappointing for you. That's, God, I'm such a curmudgeon. That's Saturn coming in.
I believe my parents are going to be starting to rebuild their kitchen right around this time. So.
Interesting. We'll have to have a look at their charts later and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But if you're Libra, it's happening in your 5th house, and what a fun house. 5th house is all about fun. It's children, creativity, it's hobbies, it's socializing, it's romance, it's gambling. So these are all things that could be happening. Could be a new creative pursuit. It could be a new hobby, socializing more, a new romance, or it could be something happening with your children. Maybe they're starting out on a new venture of some type.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
or try to
I
make
like
it
the 5th.
with Saturn in your fun house. That's kind of a difficult challenge there.
I got Venus in mine, so I lucked out. Venus in Taurus too. So like she's in her joy, in her sign. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to the 6th house is if you are Virgo. and that is your sun sign, moon sign, or ascendant or rising. This is going to affect you in the way of what you do on the daily. So with the moon starting to grow, I would think about, what do you want to grow in your life? Do you want to increase your exercise? Do you want to increase your job? Do you want to increase your family? Do you want to increase your relationships? That is what I would be focusing on if I were a Virgo.
And also pets, or what is it? Pets up to the size of a horse or something? I think horses and above 12th house, and up to a horse, maybe a dog.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They have the small pets, or like chickens or small farm animals, something that you can actually pick up. I would assume goes with that house. If you were to anything you can ride or that will pull you, I would associate that with the 12th house.
Very good, very good.
So that's my differentiation.
No, that
my
makes
daughter, who's
sense.
a veterinary, or was in a veterinary hospital, that's where she draws the line. If you can pick it up, it's a pet.
I was just thinking though, some dogs are so big, I don't think I could pick them up.
No, you'd be surprised.
It's kind of like, are they 6 or are they 12?
Yeah,
and sorry, go on.
I was just going to go on to the 7th house. If you've got something to say about the 6th, go ahead.
So 7th house, is it my turn or is it your turn?
The 7th house has to do with, it's my turn. 7th house has to do with Leo. So Leo, being in your 7th house, it's all about relationships, and that is where the spotlight is going to be. Everybody has relationships, whether it's with a significant one partner, or if it's with a business partner, but it's basically the one-on-one kind of relationships that we're talking about. So the Leo energy is definitely spotlighting that. And again, it's if you have a marriage, it's going to be, what do we want in this marriage? It's setting the ground rules with that Saturn in there, because the Saturn is definitely influencing. It's not that far from that full moon. It's only 3 degrees away. You want to be settling the rules of, in a marriage or in a partnership or in a business relationship or any kind of relationship, a one-on-one kind of thing. So that's what I would be working on.
Yeah. And then we've got Cancer with the 8th house, which is interesting. So the 8th house is traditionally other people's money. It's also death, but we won't go there. It's a bit morbid, but 8th house. So we've got things like joint finances and loans. We've got superannuation, which doesn't make any sense to you, Donna, because that's an Australian thing. But insurances and taxation, stuff like that. So there might be new beginnings around this, and also inheritances. So new beginnings, new stuff happening here. You might be going into, a business partnership with somebody and setting out those finances. You might be, moving in with somebody and, working out how you're going to handle those joint purchases and that. So yeah, new beginnings regarding other people's money or shared finances.
Wow. That's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
Finances are a big deal with a lot of people right now. They really are. Moving on to Gemini. If your Gemini is your rising sign or ascendant or moon sign or sun sign, these are going to affect you, because the new moon's going to fall in your 9th house. And that is going to be what you deal with philosophically for your higher education. So those are going to be your concerns starting college, starting higher education is all about what this is about. Saturn there is going to try to tell you no. Tell Saturn it can make rules, but it's not going to stop you.
Yeah, but
That is
that's good
how
advice.
I would work
And
with
just
that
put in
energy.
the hard work. You know, Saturn wants that hard
Yes.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
that stamina.
Yes. Yeah. And in that fixed house, it's got that pull. It's got that energy to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Love Saturn.
Yeah,
I know it's
it's
hard, but
great.
it's a tall ask, but try it.
Yeah, I just love my Saturn. Yeah. And if you're a Taurus, this is going to be happening in your 10th house, which is your career and public reputation. So this could be new steps forward or new beginnings regarding career, whether that's starting a career, moving to a different job, moving up within your career, or it could be just public reputation in general, which I often see things happening in the 10th house, and it doesn't necessarily have to be work. It could be you're just gaining more attention because, you know, you're getting married or you're having a baby or something big for some reason is bringing attention to you. So, yeah, if it's happening in the 10th house, it's new things that are going to be visible to others.
Yeah. And with Uranus in there, you could end up with a jolt. So just be prepared to roll with the punches.
Yeah, yeah.
Being in a Taurus house, it's stabilizing. It's a
Mhm.
fixed house, so that energy should hopefully try to keep Uranus a little bit at bay.
Yeah, yeah. That Uranus,
Fingers
it's
crossed.
just like no getting away from it, is there?
Right. Yeah, no, there's not. And then if Aries is your moon sign, sun sign, or rising sign, ascendant, Aries, you need to be looking for it's in your house of groups. So this would be a good time to start a group. This would be a good time to join a group.
Yeah.
Chiron's also in there. I always look for Chiron. If you read my blog, you will know Chiron is one of the things I always look at. So expect some healing from those groups. I'm sure a lot of people have been distanced from those groups that they rely on. But I believe that this year, Chiron and the new moon in Aries will be able to help you heal that absence that you have experienced.
Really good point. That's got me really curious what the Aries new moon looks like now. I'll be having a look at that a little bit later. That's a really good point. Yeah. And I mean, just this whole pandemic, you know, so many people feeling so isolated. And yet, ironically, you and me only met because of the pandemic, which
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
I know. It's amazing that our relationship, that it started. The town I grew up in is the town that has the headquarters of the place that you used to work. Yeah, there's so many amazing coincidences that
the world is just so much smaller than you really think it
very
is.
lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
And if you're a Pisces, this is going to happen in your 12th house. So 12th house is hidden things and secret things. Also place of seclusion and rest. Some people say spirituality. How do you feel about that in the 12th house?
Well, I think of the 12th house as escapism a lot of times.
Yeah,
I
actually,
also
that's
think
a really
of it
good word for it.
as, especially with Neptune in there, especially with the being in typically a 12th house, it's time to end things and start anew. So
Yeah,
it really fits in perfectly with this new moon.
I mean, I really like what you said about escapism because, I mean, the traditional, thing that we learn is self-undoing. you know, it can be addictions and, you know, going too far and all that. But escapism would totally fit into that. And that's, being too involved in your devices, and, it can be covers so many things. I really like that. I'm going to write that down. And yeah, a good point with not only Neptune being in Pisces, but Jupiter. So there could be that, excess, which leads to the need to kind of like, okay, it's come to a point, new starts. So yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, time to reevaluate. Well, with that Mercury in retrograde, it is time to reevaluate. It's the perfect time to do that, because that's all about what Mercury does, is reevaluate what you need to do.
And we've had that Venus not long ago come out of its retrograde period, and at the time it's still trining that Uranus. But yeah, a lot of Capricorn energy at the moment, so
should be an interesting year for everybody.
It should be.
I know I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. And I believe that you've got some information about crystals for us.
Yes. Yeah, the part on Pisces I was talking about, I do have a crystal for that.
Oh, fantastic.
But the other crystal I'm talking about most specifically is this. This is a rose quartz.
Nice.
Sphere. I'll spin it for you a little while. If you want love in your life, this is, and you can get it from a sphere, and you can get it from rocks. These are natural. They're natural rose quartz. This is polished, so this is man-made. I mean, it's not man-made, it's man-formed. And these are rose quartz. They're pinkish in shape. They're very, very light in color. Let me see if I can get that.
It's a very pale pink, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very pale pink. Very powerful stone, though. I use it all the time. If there's anger in my house, this rose quartz comes out. The shape of this is significant to amplify. So I like it.
Having it in the kind of orb.
You're right.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Where if you have a rose quartz in an orb or a sphere, it's going to amplify everywhere. The crystals I typically use for chakra layouts and balancing, which basically brings more love into your life. Who doesn't need that?
Exactly.
I don't know anybody who, thank God, I don't know anybody who does not need more love in their life, whether it's friendship love, self-love, relationship love. If you got to have it, you really do. It's what us as humans are made to require in order for development. You can't take a monkey, a baby monkey, and take it away from love and expect it to grow as a natural monkey. You just can't. So rose quartz is my crystal for this month. And I will be doing a crystal for every month.
Excellent.
Going on.
For every new moon?
Every new moon.
Excellent. And you're going to have that article on your website. We'll put a link to that below.
I will. Excellent. All the benefits of rose quartz.
Excellent. And did we have anything else? I don't know.
Oh, well, there's planetary energies that are coming through this month. For the next until the full moon. So we have Jupiter sextiling Mars.
Jupiter
on Friday.
Sextiling Mars. Let me just get in here.
That's going to be on Friday.
On Friday? Let's have a look.
That kind of energy is Jupiter and Mars can be aggressive.
Oh
Jupiter and
yeah, you're gonna have
Mars,
to tell me that.
Jupiter and Mars can also be hero energy. I'm asking people to go for the hero energy. The time to, be nice to your neighbor, to shovel the walks of your neighbor. I know you in Australia don't even have a clue of what snow is. Here in
Well, maybe
Michigan.
some down south do. It does actually snow down south, but not where I am. No.
Okay. In Michigan, the state that says hi to the world, where I am from, we have a lot of snow. It is the winter wonderland. Yeah, it's the energy to want to do good things and nice things, not necessarily earth shattering kind of energy, but it is the energy that's gonna give you to shovel your neighbor's walk or do something nice for a neighbor.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you think of Jupiter sextiling Mars?
Yeah, I think it's usually a little bit more beneficial, like you say. And I mean, with Mars in Capricorn, where it's exalted, I mean, you've got the energy to kind of follow through on those high ideals. So yeah, a little bit of altruism and, yeah, thinking of others perhaps. I mean, and Jupiter's in Pisces, so it's a little bit, it's quite a mellow Jupiter. It's strong, but it's not aggressive. So yeah, and even that Mars in Capricorn, it's a controlled Mars. It's it's not an out of control fire. It's under control. Yeah, I like it.
A very controlled,
sustained energy to achieve those high ideals. I like it.
Right. I love that it's exalted, especially squaring Chiron. It may be tough to reach out to those neighbors. You got that tension. That's what a square means, is that tension. So it might be tough to reach out to those neighbors, but do it anyway.
Yeah.
You'll love yourself for it. Which is all about this month, February, Valentine's Day, rose quartz.
Yeah, well, actually, that's interesting. It'd be interesting to see what's happening on Valentine's Day. So have we got any other big planetary aspects before then?
We have on the 8th, we have Mars trining. Is that Uranus?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that will be interesting.
Mars trining Uranus.
Oh my God.
That could have a bit of energy. Mars is known for the drive that you have in your life. So where that comes from in your chart, and if you don't know, you can either go to Linda's or my websites, and we will, if you write us, we'll be happy to let you give the chart or to send you your chart, so that you know where your Mars and your drive is coming from. That drive trining right to Uranus could be giving you another idea of how to help. What do you think about?
I see that, and I just think so impatient, because they're both impatient. I mean, I know that Mars is in Capricorn, so it's a lot more patient than usual, but that Uranus is just, I just think of kind of like rowdy boys. They don't mean any harm, but God. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I do.
Kind of like the 5 of Wands tarot card. They're all kind of fighting, and I kind of get that sort of vibe from it.
Could be. So watch out for other people trying to thwart your efforts.
Yeah.
Uranus right now is sitting in my first house, so I've become very comfortable with Uranus. With the moon in there, I'm going to be more emotional. Anybody who has that Uranus, in Taurus, has been what you feel, that I think the feeling is what is going to drive you.
I was just looking at this while that Mars Uranus is going on, that rowdy energy. We've got that square between Saturn and Moon, which can be a little bit sobering. It's kind of like, you know, I've got to do this stuff. You know, it's kind of a curious energy, though. Thankfully, that moon moves quickly, so maybe because the moon would have just not long moved past Uranus. Maybe the moon's just depressed that it can't get up to as much mischief as it wants.
A little bit constrained, that's for sure. That's for sure with that Saturn energy.
And then when's our next big aspect after that?
After that, oh dear, I didn't highlight that. We have Mercury conjunct Pluto.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting.
That's gonna be on the 10th or the 11th.
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, it looks like 10th, very late from the 10th to very early at the 11th. Right. intense communications.
Yeah, in Capricorn. So this would be a good time to
it'd be good for strategic thinking.
Yeah. Right. Or a good time to approach your boss if you need some changes at work.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
What else?
But that seems to do it for the planetary movements so far that I can.
I just want to have a quick look at February 14th. We got to see what's happening on Valentine's Day. Let's do it for midday or around about midday.
Perfect. That's going to fall on a Monday.
So what do we got?
Ooh, we have movement.
Mercury's, oh wow, look at that.
Mercury's going into Aquarius. Mercury's going into Aquarius. And what did you say?
We got Venus and Mars together. Venus and Mars. Mind you, that's a hard-headed Venus.
It is. And in the East Coast, Mercury's going to be moving into Aquarius. And that is an excellent time if you have the kudos or the points within yourself to speak up for the general population of the people at work. Be a great time to like demand dental or insurance. It's a great time to be able to speak your voice. That Mercury knew, if you have been following my blogs, journal anytime a planet moves into another sign. That is going to be significant. A year ago today, on February 1st, I won a logo. I would have never gone onto the web as I have if I had not won that logo. I've never won anything in my life. I won a logo that day. And that was when Venus moved into Aquarius. And it is definitely a significant day. If you pay attention, you will understand Mercury, who has things to do with communication or elementary learning, and your community or that you live in. When that changes, something with Mercury is going to change. So I would pay attention to that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I did like that Venus Mars for Valentine's Day, because I mean, let's face it, people are going to be interested. But I just noticed that Jupiter and Uranus as well, nice sextile there.
Yeah,
mind you, wow, what does that mean? Over the top,
big power struggles. Unknown big power struggles. It literally is the word. If you look at Jupiter, it signifies big. Power struggles is the Venus Mars Pluto dynamic that you got going on in Capricorn, and then that, yeah, in the same chart as Jupiter sextiling Uranus, It could, and Uranus means jolting or a new idea. You don't necessarily need to have it as jolting. It could just be a new idea.
Oh, it can be exhilarating.
Yes.
Yeah. And it depends how you, some people just don't like change or surprises.
The North Node is in there with Uranus. So I am hoping, fingers crossed, it's a positive change. It's for the better.
Yeah, I just think that'll be interesting. That's I see that as not overly negative, but a lot of, it's kind of a rowdy energy again. It's kind of like, you know, Jupiter doesn't know when to stop, and I don't think Uranus does either. So
active. We'll dub that tiger energy for this year at least.
Yeah, well, very interesting. It'd be interesting to see what next month new moon is like, and what the energy feels like for that. But
can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this month. We're going to be here for the full moon in 2 weeks' time.
I'd love to. So that's going to be about the 16th of February.
Yeah, so just after Valentine's Day. And Miss Donna, where can people find you?
You can find me at donnabastrology.com. My email address is donnabarconsulting.com. I do 2 modalities. I do astrology and I do crystal healing. So not really crystal healing. I would like to more do it as crystal support. I'm fearful of saying healing because although I have seen healing, I can only say that it is supportive.
Well, supportive is still good.
And absolutely. I've seen amazing results with that supportive healing.
Yeah,
so
well, you did a remote healing for me, and it was very helpful. I found it very, very helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, I am in awe of how these energies work, and putting them all together and getting that word out to everyone is exactly why I'm sitting here right now.
Okie dokie. And I'm at Scullywag Astrology, which is astrology.scullywag.com. I had to think about that. And you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter. But yeah, anyway, we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Thank you.